Hey, beautiful souls. How you doing out there? And be honest for a second. Like, how are you really doing? Here where I am in the United States, things are a little grim at the moment, but depending on where you look, there are some changes that are happening that are quite positive and shifting in the right direction towards more of the benefit for all instead of the benefit of the few. Granted, not moving at the pace I would like it to be, but here we are in this present moment, watching a lot of upheaval, maybe being caught in the middle of it, and wondering what the hell is going on. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I've taken a lot of drugs in my life, a lot of mind-altering substances, a lot of acid. And I can tell you for a fact, from my own personal experience, I have, even in those instances, never experienced anything as surreal as this timeline we find ourselves in right now. But I'm not despairing. I'm not giving up hope. Instead, what I'm looking for is what's really going on. Based on what I believe to be true and based on my personal experience working in, the esoteric realms and doing my work as a spiritual mentor and writer, author, speaker, content creator, course creator for over 20 years now. Um, I tend to I read in between the lines. I hear in between the words. I'm willing to dig a lot deeper into the heart of darkness sometimes because that's what it takes if you want to be able to stay ahead of a timeline that, yeah, a lot of things are breaking down, a lot of things are collapsing. But at the same time, it's very important to me, and especially not just in my life, but in the work that I do, to look just and lean into just a little bit ahead of the curve and see what's going on now. And in that, be able to bring some hope. And, you know, there's nothing that I know, there's nothing anybody knows for sure. We might think we do, but at best, we have some really strong beliefs, and we're all basically in our own, personal perceptual bias of reality and operating as best we can to the beliefs that we hold nearest and dearest to our heart. And for me, that is that everything's going to be okay. And if I can tell you everything is going to be okay, and if you're in a place to hear it, awesome. Because what I'm going to tell you next, you're going to receive it a little bit easier when I give maybe a little bit of backstory and a little bit of future hope for what's unfolding at the moment. And maybe if you're willing to at least hear, hey, everything is going to be okay. Again, I don't know anything, but I happen to operate from this personal belief that everything is going to be okay, that everything works out in the end. And if it's not okay right now, that means it's not the end. So take that in, and like whatever I share on my channel and all the spaces where I share my stuff, take what resonates and leave the rest. That's all I'm asking you to do. But just for a few moments here, I'm asking you to lean into this idea that what we're experiencing right now is more than just an energetic shift. That what is really unfolding first within us, and we're seeing this play out across the planet right now, is this profound healing of the inner divine masculine. So let me explain that. It's more than just an energetic shift. It's really a recalibration. It is a tantric process. And when, a lot of people talk about tantra, they just think it's something sexual. It's way deeper than that. A tantric process unites polarity principles of divine masculine and sacred feminine, respectively. And it starts always within us. Everything does, because everything is a mirror, a projection of our inner state, including how we perceive collective, what we call outer reality. And this tantric process that's taking hold right now, it's leveraging, it's harmonizing the creational scales of balance, okay? If you think of the scales of balance between divine masculine and sacred feminine, it's like the divine masculine has been super weighed down with a lot of wounding, a lot of incorrect energy signatures that have created an imbalance. And where the sacred feminine is this creative force. It is the forces of creation and destruction, really. It's wild, it's feral, it's untamed. It's the intuitive current that drives dreams and imagination and births new realities as well as destroying old ones. It's an energy that pulses with life, with desire and raw expression, and we want to see that come back into balance. But always and ever, in order to do that, we have to ask ourselves, what is creation without structure? What is this force of creation, destruction, and rebirth that is this raw, feral, feminine energy? And when I talk about divine feminine, I don't talk about soft, flowy robes and crystals and unicorns and rainbows. I have a different take on the divine feminine. It is very raw. It is very wild and untamed and intuitive, and there's like this deep undercurrent of knowing, of cycles and spirals, and it's very feral. And all this is great because it's wild and untamed, but what is life and what is our experience of form without structure? And in a word, you could say that's divine masculine, what it lends to this process of creating and destroying and rebirthing form over and over and over again through cycles and spirals of time, endlessly through eternity. What is creation without structure? What is a dream, really, without the will to act? What's a river without banks to navigate and control it? So without the divine masculine, the energy that protects, directs, and brings form to the formless, that, without that, the feminine energy and the magic of that, it just drifts, ungrounded. And, a lot of us who've maybe done a ton of energy healing work without bringing it into form, without rooting it in the body, how do you feel? Ungrounded. The masculine is the form, the feminine is the formless, but we need both. We need both. And in order to experience our new human blueprint, which is really this divine template of us embodying these tantric scales of balance, these polarities between divine masculine and sacred feminine, and being able to hold them in integrity in our human form, that's really a big part of the new human blueprint. In order for it to take hold, you need that balance. That new human blueprint where we feel safe in our bodies, where we feel stability is an inner state. We'll never need to, fall prey to the illusion that some stability or safety is created outside of us. When we are occupying and embodying and inhabiting the new human blueprint, we understand that it's always, ever, and always within us that we feel safety, stability, and an inner self-protection. And, this blueprint, as we embody the inner balance more and more, and we are, even though the pervasive and stubborn illusion outside of us might dictate otherwise, this inner balance is taking hold. It really is. And we are becoming conduits of spiritual evolution. We're holding the energies within us. We're ushering in this new human blueprint. And this blueprint, it doesn't belong to some distant future, some nebulous point out there. It's awakening right now. It's already awakened. It's rooted in our collective return to inner stability and safety. Inner stability and safety. And if we, it doesn't take much investigation to look at the world of form right now, especially if you're here in the United States, and looking at all the forms and structures and systems that are literally dismantling before our eyes. And what do we feel? This core instability, this core safety. So that is a wounding from relying on too much outside of us and not relying on our own forces of protection, our own forces of majesty and magic and creational, our own creational template within us. We've learned throughout our lifetime, our history, to rely on outer forces as if they hold the powers to stabilize us. They don't. They never did. And so what we're grappling with is these systems and structures fail us, and we get to see as they're crumbling, like, maybe they weren't that great to begin with if they're so easy to topple. That's a whole other video for another time. But here's the raw truth. the old ways, the old structures, the abuse of power that came with those structures and systems, the domination, the manipulation, the control, they all stem from wounded masculine energy. And, we don't, in the new human blueprint, we don't fall prey to those same old illusions and parlor tricks anymore because we're learning how to feel safe within. And when we feel safe within, we live as our true selves in the world. We're no longer bound by fear or the need for external validation, and we ripple that out like a silent permission slip to the rest of the world for others to do the same, to stand in their authenticity too. And we all feel safe to express ourselves as we are. Now that's new, right? But I'm telling you, it's here. It's not some point in the future. It is awakening. It's rooting right now. And what's falling away, and it feels like, clutches and grasps at this, because that's really what it is. It's a desperate attempt to continue to feel safe in a world where we've forgotten that instead of anchoring into these systems that are crumbling as we watch them do so, we're always meant to anchor into our own inner foundation, our own inner truth. And what's happening in the outer mirror of reality is showing us that. It's showing us that gap in our understanding and allowing us to make corrections in real time. It's really kind of fascinating if you think about it that way. And, the responsibility is on us. What do we want to see next? We get to build it from everything that's falling away and collapsing en masse. We get to build the new. But what do you want to build it from? The same old shit? Or from an inner foundation of more authenticity, more genuineness, more raw truth of who you really are? I know what I want. So these patterns that form these old foundations and systems that are going away, they're born from the core wounding of not feeling seen, not feeling safe, not feeling understood. It's all rising to the surface now. And it's not here to destroy us, but it's to be witnessed, right? Because we can only address what we can consciously realize. We can only change what we have awareness of. And boy, do we have awareness of what's not working out and maybe what hasn't really worked out, especially not for the benefit of the many. And so the divine masculine within us, that's built to protect the truth of who we are. It's built to protect our voice. It's like a sword of clarity that cuts through all the bullshit and everything that is not truth. This is what's rising up and rising back into integrity. Healing doesn't happen in silence. What's going on now, if you're really paying attention, it's loud. It's like a roaring in your ears as things break down and collapse and dismantle and dissolve. It's loud. And it's loud with, people railing for their issues on one side and other people railing for their issues on the other side. It's very much a divide and conquer timeline right now, for now, okay? But what's happening is we're collectively standing up and vocally expressing our deeper truths, our deeper principles, and our deeper values. And we're gonna have to muddle through some bullshit before we realize we actually all want the same things. We all want safety. We all want stability. We all want to be authentic. We all want to be understood. And so we've got to go through the muck and the mire and the bullshit and trudge through swampy, dirty, fucked up, shitty waters first. Because that's what clears the way. And this isn't an advocation for aggression. This isn't about aggression. It is about knowing that this is a process of clearing the path for the new. It's not about aggression. It's about bold, unwavering presence. And it's about standing firm in what we know to be true, creating our own field of safety first for ourselves and then for others. Those of us who feel that we're going to stand up for things that, represent an altruism, the greater principles and values, the morality. Like, we are way beyond politics at this point. It's not about politics at this point. It is about morality. And those of us who have, voices that ring out strong and true from a kind of altruism, again, being a voice and an agent for the highest benefit of all instead of the benefit of the few, having that bold, unwavering presence, standing firm in what you know to be true in alignment with that. You're a guardian of the sacred. You're an agent of higher consciousness. Please don't discount that. And we all have places in our lives where we can do that. You don't have to go out and try to fix everything because, number one, you can't. Number two, it's a waste of your time to fight the mirror. You have to go and find your inner truth inside first. And if what I'm saying really rings true for you, you'll feel it. You'll feel it resonating in your solar plexus right now, deep in the belly, rising up from the belly button into the solar plexus, maybe even radiating out into the heart. And if that's true, then you are one of these divine agents of higher consciousness that I'm talking about. You're set in this timeline, or you volunteered for it, to work your unique brand of magic. Your unique light is being used to coax forward and help reveal our greater human destiny. This is happening. It's very exciting when you think about it this way. So, bringing this back to the divine masculine, what really is, how can we really know powerful feminine agency and energy? The kind that's full of vibrant ideas, bold values, creative force, if there's no masculine energy strong enough to act on those values. They have to be in balance, you see. So to plant those seeds in the soil of the material world, what does that take? It takes nothing less than balance. It doesn't mean, being a divine feminine warrior of the light and a feminine agency and trying to stamp out the masculine entirely. It is not about aggression. It is not about force. It is about balance. While the feminine energy is dreaming of new worlds, the masculine has to be harmonized so it can build the bridge, so it can provide the structure to cross into that. There's no other way. And without this balance, a higher collective human destiny remains a really distant longing. Some nebulous ideal that never finds form in our human reality. That's not our destiny. We're not here to just wish for it. We're here to anchor it. So for the divine masculine to rise in consciousness, the old wounds have to be faced first. And that's exactly what's happening. And wherever you are in the world watching this, you may see this playing out. Given the context of what I'm, bringing forth for your examination here, you can, maybe where you are in the world isn't going through that much turmoil, and awesome. But maybe you see and have a feeling of these subtle undercurrents, this kind of tumultuousness, this kind of building or has been building. Maybe you're in a place where you're seeing the breaking point. Maybe you're in a place in the world where there's a lot of shrapnel flying around, and it's in the full-on storm, the destructive phase. But in any way, shape, or form, a storm must come because that's what clears paths. That is what brings freshness. A sacred clearing to make space for this tantric restoration. And believe me, it's nothing less than that. And that's quite a reckoning. That's quite a tempestuous situation. It's not a battle to win. It's a release. These wounds being faced first and then grappled with. Saying, okay, I see this now. I see this for what it is. I see how this is really harmful. This inner divine masculine wounding. I see how this plays out. What is my part? What is my part? What can I do? The magic that I bring to this timeline, what's inherent within me that, it doesn't have to be some big challenge or some, big insurmountable task. It can just be what you're good at, the things you like to talk about, the love you have to give. How can you start building new bridges, building new structures from your unique energetic signature and vantage point, perceptual bias of viewing life? We all have this within us. We all have this capacity to do our part. It's not a battle to win. Remember, it's a release. It's a surrender to the process of destruction and then rebirth, because rebirth always follows destruction. This energy here that we're playing with and the whole cosmological order of things is cycles and spirals. It's not linear. There's no beginning and no end. It's always a return. It's always a cycle. It's always a spiral of time where we're meeting ourselves and our destinies at different points along this spiral, always. And so this is the crucible This is where the masculine sheds his armor of fear and control, and any need to dominate and manipulate because of that fear of not being held. And I mean, not being held like a mother cradling a baby in the arms, although probably that too. But being held, feel like you'll always support it. You will never need to act out of an insane amount of greed if you feel truly supported. If you feel truly safe, there's no need to hoard a bunch of things outside of you or manipulate or dominate others, you see? So we're grappling with and moving through and healing that deep wounding of fear and control and all the byproducts that come from that. We're making way for a strength that's rooted in love, in clarity, and honor of all life. And here's the most beautiful part of this, that when this healing happens, first within us, because it's always inner to outer, it transforms all of our outer relationships, sometimes immediately, sometimes simultaneously. And no longer do we seek others to complete us. No longer do we need to lord our power over others. Instead, we dance with the other energies of this planet. We dance with all of consciousness from a place of our own wholeness. This is the restoration. This is the reckoning in the tempest that's taking hold in what it brings. And when all of our outer relationships are transformed for the better, we feel safe, we feel protected, we feel held. We feel strong enough to take risks. You know, sometimes the risk to speak up, sometimes to act from a place of divine inner masculine will, to take an action that maybe we wouldn't have before. When we feel safe, man, it's amazing what we can do. Our voices grow louder, not from force, but from authenticity. We stand up. Our poise changes, our carriage changes, the way we hold our body, the way we hold our head, our whole posture, our whole nervous system gets a recalibration. Our creativity flows, not like some chaotic river without banks, but within the divine masculine supported protection, it's a powerful current that carves new landscapes as it goes. We live boldly. When we feel safe, protected, and held, supported, we live with more energy, more passion. We live in purpose and on purpose. Because when the divine masculine stands tall beside the sacred feminine within us, we become unstoppable. We are forced to be reckoned with. And we become the living expression of creation in harmony. And that's how we change the world. And this is happening. This is happening now. You're here, you're in it. So I deliver this message to you with a lot of love in my heart, fierce, fierce love, an unflinching amount of truth as I know it, and with as much assistance as I can possibly offer to you, as much as you're willing and available to hear and receive. Please accept that, and with so much love, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.